Now in this video we're going to be using an advanced version of the mixer brush, and this is going to allow us to sample selections and areas of objects and reproduce those in almost the most realistic versions possible. And you're going to be able to grab color, grab lighting. You're going to be able to do a lot with this technique, and I really love it. It is one of my favorite things to play with. And you're probably sitting there asking yourself, why do I need to learn how to use the mixer brush in this way? While you might not use it in your photography, you will eventually use it or need to use it in your composites. If you do a lot of composites, the more advanced you become, the more you will find yourself creating and adding items in by yourself. So you'll be adding tree branches in and vines and leaves. There's just so many things that you can do with this mixer brush. And it's like using or creating that matte painting effect in Photoshop. So let's go ahead and get started with using this brush. So I brought in a couple of examples, some that will work and some that will not work. And I did this because I want you to see how to use this tool. So with our mixer brush selected, we're going to hover over top of a selection, hold down our Alt key, and select just like we would a clone stamper. And now we can just simply start painting. As you can see though, it doesn't look good. We can go up to our windows and choose brush, and we're going to decrease the spacing between that. And as you can see, it starts to smear or smudge the tool. Now, because this selection and this spear was available, it did bring in a little bit right there, but I'm not really concerned about it because I honestly would not use this tool at this point like this. It just doesn't look right. So I'm just going to undo these two options here, and we're going to move on to our next selection. Now I went ahead and moved those over to the corner so they wouldn't interfere, and I'm going to grab my mixer brush again, select over top that area. We're going to select all, and let's decrease the size and try to select just from this portion here in the center. Hold the Alt key and select. If you look up here, you will see the entire image has been brought in, and if I start painting, as you can see, it does pull in some of the areas around that. So let's go back and edit and undo. Let's change this brush size to a dry heavy load, and as you can see, it starts to really smear those around. So these don't look so great. They don't look good when there's a lot going on, and you really have to adjust these and change these to have them look right. It's just, if I cut around this, it may look okay. So let's go ahead and try that. We're going to go back to our layer. Let's grab our lasso tool and let's just select this portion here of this jewel and create a new group from layer, or a new layer, and turn those off. Let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. It really works best with spears and things like that. So, okay, let's go back. Let's increase that size to go around the entire image. Hold our Alt key, select, and now let's start painting on. So we have a dry light load. Let's change this to a dry heavy load, and we can start painting around. So as you can see, it gives us a match of the pattern or the lighting that's on that image, but it still doesn't look that great because this is a very choppy. It's not very smooth. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and delete this, and we're going to work from the spear. Now before I start sampling from this selection, I'm going to grab my elliptical marquee tool and hold my shift key, and I just want to come in just a little bit tighter on this and do a selection from just this option. Hide that background. We have this new layer. I'm going to hold my pixel key so we can only paint on the pixels. Select the darkest shade, grab my regular paintbrush, and I just want to paint in this bottom half. I want this side to be dark and this upper portion to be light because I really want you to be able to see the difference the best. Okay, so with this selected, I'm going to go back to our mixer brush. We're going to choose a soft round. Let's bring that hardness up to about 56% though, just so we have a little bit of a hardness to that. And I'm going to increase my brush size so it selects the entire area. Then hold my Alt key down and select in the center of that sphere. Now with that mixer brush selected on that dry heavy load, we're going to decrease that brush size, and I'm just going to paint with my mouse. I can also paint with my pen tablet, and you can see that it will keep the lighting where it's located here on your screen or on your sphere. So let's increase that size, and we're just going to lay down a couple more brush strokes, and it really allows you to see how that lighting goes on there. It almost creates a 3D effect. So this is a really fun tool to use if you need to expand branches or even sometimes arms and legs and just a lot of different things. I personally use this for vines and expanding ivy and vines in images. So let's go ahead and show you a couple different options with expanding vines and ivy, and I will use this background layer here. All I need to do is we'll select our tulip. I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to increase the size just a little bit so you can see what's going on. We're going to deselect now, go over to our mixer brush. Now to use this to expand vines or branches or ivy, you need to have almost a sphere-like shape. So let's just grab our elliptical marquee tool, hold the Shift key and select directly over this section. Then do a new layer from copy and then hide that background layer, so now you have this selection. If you need to, you can use your dodge and burn tool to make one side a little bit darker and the other side a little bit brighter. Now base this off of exactly what your image looks like. You're just doing this to make it a little bit stronger. And this is just a little trick that I use to make sure that I'm getting the right lighting effect and the right light position. Once that's selected, we're going to grab that mixer brush again, hold our Alt key down, select directly over that, and then we're just going to paint on. And as you can see, that almost creates a vine. Now it has a little bit of thickness in the middle, and that's because we're on that moist light mix. If we go back to that dry heavy mix and decrease the size a little bit, you will see that it is much less thick in certain areas, but it definitely has that vine look. This is one of my favorite things to do. I could create ivy and vines all day. Doesn't that look great? I really could. You can add leaves on, and you'd have to come back in and use your blender brush and blend them out based on which side you're using them on. Look, you could even use thorns like we did in our love potion video. There's so many options. So if I want to blend these after I use that, all I need to do is clean off my brush, go to a moist light mix, decrease that size down, and we're just going to blend these together. And that's all you need to do. It is so much fun. I'm doing this very quickly though, so keep that in mind. And we can go to let's go to a moist heavy mix, and that'll just blend it a little bit quicker. You really need to play with this though. It is such a fun tool to play with. And decrease the size even more and blend that together. Let's bring that wetness up. So much fun, so many options to use. I am butchering this image though because I am in a hurry, but as you can see, you can blend these together, you can create so many different looks.